an area of the brain called the parietal lobes had less and less blood flowing into them. They seemed almost to be shutting down. This was significant new information. The parietal lobes help give us our sense of time and place.
This part of the brain typically takes all of our sensory information and uses that sensory information to create a sense of ourself. When people meditate, they frequently describe a loss of that sense of self, and that's exactly what we did see in the meditation subjects, was that they actually decreased the activity in this parietal or this orientation part of the brain.
This strange sensation of a loss of self is central to religious feelings in all the world's faiths. Buddhists seek a feeling of oneness with the universe. Hindus strive for the soul and God to become one. And the Catholics search for the Uno Mystica. Dr. Newberg wondered if these very different religions might actually be describing the same thing. To test this theory, he took scans of Franciscan nuns at prayer to see if there was any similarity between what was going on in their brains and those of Buddhists.
Interestingly, when we look at the Franciscan nuns, we see a similar decrease in the orientation part of the brain as we saw with the Tibetan Buddhist.
Even though Buddhists and Catholics may come from very different religious traditions, how their minds react to deep meditation or prayer seems, in terms of brain chemistry, to be exactly the same process.
Martyrs and saints, whose faithful witness reveals your steadfast love.
Dr. Newberg's research shows the first clear scientific evidence that there are a number of different areas in our brain involved in religious belief.
The results from our study really point to the fact that there is a large network of different structures in the brain communicating with each other during these spiritual experiences. And I think our results do show that there are lots of different parts of the brain that get turned on or turned off, suggesting that there really is an overall network of structures that seems to be involved in these types of practices.
The implications of Dr. Newberg's research, along with that of Dr. Persinger, are huge. They suggest that how or what we believe is deeply controlled by the basic physical makeup of our minds. It begs the question, why have we developed this ability? Perhaps there is a simple evolutionary explanation. Studies have shown that believers live longer, are healthier, even that they may have lower levels of cancer and heart disease. Could it be we somehow evolved religious belief as a survival mechanism?
If you ask the question, what's the survival value of religious belief, it could be that you're asking the wrong question. What you should be doing is asking, what's the survival value of the kind of brain which manifests itself as religious belief under the right circumstances.
But if religious faith is somehow a byproduct of evolution, does that mean belief in a God can be dismissed as a quirk of nature? The fact is, it's much too early to think of neurotheology as a means of explaining away people's faith. Although there is evidence to show that our brains are hardwired for religion, this doesn't mean that God can be dismissed as just a trick of brain chemistry.
Just because there are circuits in your brain that predispose you to religious belief does not in any way negate the value of a religious belief. Now, it may be God's way of putting an antenna in your brain to make you more receptive to God. Nothing us scientists are saying about the brain or about neural circuitry for religion in any way negates the existence of God, nor negates the value of religious experience for the person experiencing it.
It would be very surprising if we didn't discover more about the physics and chemistry of those parts of our bodies which are a process, the various bits of enjoyment we receive from religious believing. I think Christians and maybe other religious believers have absolutely nothing to fear from further investigation, indeed should be keen on it, and canny when it comes to the interpretation of it.
What is beyond doubt is that the origins of religion are even more complex than had been thought. The science of neurotheology has revealed that it is too simplistic to see religion as either spiritually inspired or the result of social conditioning. What it shows is that for some reason our brains have developed specific structures that help us believe in God. Remarkably, it seems, whether God exists or not, the way our brains have developed, we will go on believing.
The human religious impulse does seem very difficult to wipe out, which causes me a certain amount of grief. Clearly, religion has extreme tenacity.
Because the brain seems to be designed the way it is, and because religion and spirituality seem to be built so well into that kind of function, the concepts of God and religion are going to be around for a very, very long time.